spooky season is upon us, and I have not had to think long and hard about what I'm going to make. I actually just started rewatching Outlander, and I want to recreate one of Claire's iconic looks. I'm going to do things a bit differently. I actually saw a few people creating patterns from duct tape, so I want to try and do the same. Claire's outfit has so many layers to it, so I think I'll start with the top, then move to the big booty. I'm going to need to make something with padding for underneath the skirt. There's going to be a lot in it, but I'm excited to see how I go. If I can actually pull this off, it will look awesome. If you want to see how I go recreating Claire's iconic outfit, then stick around. Here we are back in the Sewing Club studio. It's actually quite nice because the evenings are staying a little bit lighter. We've just hit spring here in Australia and it's already really warm. I think it's meant to be like 32 degrees this weekend, so I'm probably gonna die and regret this outfit for Halloween, but there we go. Now I need to do some research, look at all the components that go into Claire's outfit, and then get started on my duct tape pattern making, which is gonna be a journey and a half. Added my bust point onto one of my front pieces. I think I need to break this into 2 pieces rather than the one. So by adding a seam, I'll effectively be adding a dart, and I think this should be a much nicer curve and it will sit a lot better on my body. So now I'm just cutting out my front piece, and then I'll just sticky tape some additional paper on so I can add my seam allowance. So for my back, because I took the right pieces of the front, I'm gonna take the left pieces of the back so that where I did the shoulder matches up. I'm basically just gonna fold this in half after I've cut it, trace this side onto the other, and then I'll keep this for reference in case that's a better fit. Okay, now I need to measure up my sleeve. So the back half and then the front half, and then I will alter my sleeve pattern to make sure that it matches. I'm gonna make this about 3/4 because Claire's looks like it's not full length. All right, lastly for the top, I just have to measure up Claire's little fit and flare piece. So I just need to measure the front, the back, and then flip it over so that I've got the other side. And then I'll do maybe like a wavy, it looks like it goes up a little bit at the front, which maybe is because of the poof. And then kind of go down in the back a little for the saddle, and then up, you know, obviously the same on the other side. All right, so I have got all of my pattern pieces measured up, drawn up, and cut out. Now I'm gonna make a calico test of the top. Okay, so here's the test. I actually don't hate how this is fitting. I think the sleeve fits well. I also have to remember that there's no stretch in this calico, but in the brown material I bought, there is some stretch. To err on the side of caution, I'm gonna add a few centimeters to each front piece because those are pretty tight and there's a bit too much of a gap there. Also, I didn't consider adding room for my hips, so at each join on that little peplum section, I'm gonna add a triangle. So I'll do it there, I'll do it on the middle of the back, and then I'll do it on this side as well. I'm really glad that the brown fabric I bought, even though it was super expensive, does have some stretch in it because I think it will work really well. So I've just laid out my brown material and then set up all of the first sets of fabric pieces that I need. All right, so I've got all of my pieces of fabric cut out for my top. Now I need to stitch them all together. Alright, so the back little peplum section worked out really well. That should work when there's a lot of puff under the big skirt, and it should be able to sit out pretty easily. Alright, so I've just finished sewing all of my top pieces together. I'm about to hem up all of the edges. I'll attach the little loops on the front and close that up and flatten all my seams. I'm actually really happy with how my seams went on this. Like for some reason, I just nailed all of the seams today, like the underarms as well. That's unusual for me. So there's definitely improvements. And I'm also really happy with how the little triangles went. So I just tried on my top and I've pinned it in a little bit. I sort of pulled it over when I tried it on, and because of the stretch, it was too close in the middle. I want you to be able to see the stomacher in the same way that Claire has hers. So I've just pinned it back a little bit to try and make the distance the same as her top. I also just pinned up where the loopholes should go. So I've got the little loops that I'll need to add on, and that's where the brown tie will go through. Claire's has 10, so I've added 10. They're just 5 centimeters apart and there's 5 on each side. What I'm gonna do now is add some boning to either side. So one piece here and one piece here. Then I will stick those on with some glue and then I'm gonna sew it all together. Alright, so I'm just waiting on my tie to come for the front, but apart from that, the top is all finished. Okay, now I am on to my stomacher. So I'm using some of the soling board that I use for my shoes because it's nice and stiff, but this one still has a little bit of flexibility in it. It's not as stiff as some of my other soles, so hopefully it works well. I have plenty of the ribbed material, so if it doesn't work well from the first go, then I'll just give it another go, and I can always try it with some different soling. Okay, I went a little too hard on the glue in a couple of spots. I sort of forgot that the material is just a thin knit. So I'm going to do a second layer on the front, and then I'll stick a piece on the back as well so that that is finished off a bit more nicely. All right, so that is my stomacher all finished. All right, now I'm just testing how much fabric I might need for the skirt. So Claire's has a little kind of straight bit at the front, so I'll attempt to keep kind of like a 10 centimeter section there straight. And I'm just trying to create some gathers. I've got my petticoat underneath that should puff it out. Okay, so I did buy 4 meters of this jersey material, but I think that is definitely going to be too much from that little try on I just did. So I'm taking off about 80 centimeters now. So I'll just use 3 meters 20, and that should give me those really big gathers on my hips. I'm just going to mark up where the middle is of this piece of material so that I can do my little 10 centimeter straight piece at the front and all the gathers the rest of the way round. All right, so I have just hand sewn a line there and created some pleats. I've got my 10 centimeter front flat middle section, and then I've done the same with the pleating on the other side. So I've got 30 centimeters here, 10 centimeters in the middle, 30 centimeters again on the side, and then I've left a little bit so that I can do a closure, and then I've got a bit on the top, so I'll just sew above this line, and then ideally I'm going to attach a band, which I can just tie up at the back and leave enough of a slit that I can step into it. So to create the band of my skirt, I'm using the slip dress material. I thought about using the jersey, but I think it's just a bit too stretchy and I need something really, really strong. So I'm doing 138 long because I'm going to use it as a tie as well, and then just 10 centimeters wide. So I just tried on my dress with the petticoat puffer underneath just to see how much I need to hem it up by. I'm going to take it up by 45 centimeters minus 3 centimeters for a rolled hem at the bottom. So I will be cutting it at 42 centimeters the whole way around the bottom. And finally, I am just closing up the back of my skirt and leaving a little V at the top so I can comfortably get in and out. for watching. I hope you like it. Head to parts 2 for undergarments, 3 for shoes, and 4 for behind the scenes. And get ready with me.